Hi, friend. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About That. Today is a very spur-of-the-moment episode because I have my husband with me.
Hey, everybody.
And this was not supposed to happen yet. I wanted him...
But we're being spontaneous.
Yeah. I wanted him to be on for an episode about our first year of marriage, and we're about to hit
10 months.
10 months. So we're not quite there yet, but I thought it would be cool to have an episode about how we met and basically from the day we met to the wedding day. So it's everything up until we got married, and then in a couple months we'll have an episode about everything that we've learned and like what our first year of marriage was like. So let's talk about that. Everybody meet my husband, Covey. C-O-V-I-E. Like I said, it is very spur of the moment, so we might be talking off the wall because I'm not very prepared, but it's going to be great. Also, if you're watching visually, we have a microphone, which is exciting. Shout out Kayla. So hopefully audio sounds a little bit better, and there's a little bit more settings on here so that you hopefully don't hear the dog that's barking next door like you could hear the birds chirping in the last episode, or whatever episode that was. Anyways, welcome, Covey.
Glad to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, yeah, I'm Covey. I'm Sophie's husband, obviously. We're from the same hometown. Didn't know each other until...
Are you about to get into how we met right now?
No, I'm just telling them
Okay.
where I was from.
Okay. Go for it.
Pause. Like I said, me and Sophie are from the same hometown. Albany, Georgia. Lived there my whole life. My family lives there still.
Your whole family is from there, too. Like, your mom was born and raised there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your dad was basically born and raised from the same area.
Yeah. So, yeah, I moved to Auburn in May. Was here for a week. And then started my master's program here at Auburn. Now getting ready to graduate, which is crazy. It went by really quick. And, yeah, that's me.
So, you're missing a lot about who you are. You're the youngest of two. Your siblings still live in Albany.
Yes, I'm the youngest of two.
Or youngest of three. You have two older siblings.
Yeah. Yes, my brother is 8 years older than me, and my sister is like 20 months older than me. We're pretty close in age.
I don't know. I guess I would have described you like, or introduced you as like very soft-spoken.
Yeah.
Very like speak when spoken to or it's necessary.
Yeah, for the most part.
So this is like super out of your comfort zone, but I feel like I'm freaking out more than you are.
Yeah, it's not bad because I'm not having to look at strangers.
You're just looking at yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say I really have to get to know you before I open up because I have trust issues.
I just think, I don't know why we're talking about this right now.
They're just podcasts, just going with it.
Yeah.
Kind of like improv.
Yeah. Like I said, this was not planned, so I have a lot more questions, and I promise I'll be a lot more organized with you when you come on for the first year of marriage topic. But I guess we can talk about how we met and both of our perspectives. So I guess I'll tell my side, and then you can just jump in when you feel necessary, or you can just wait and then you can tell your side. Or do you want to go first?
I mean, we can just talk about it. I mean, we both know when we met.
Yeah, so I was at Auburn and got sent home for COVID. So we met in 2020. We met beginning of April of 2020.
No, towards the end. We met, so at the time I was working in undergrad, working part-time just to have some spending money.
Country boy at the...
Yeah, I worked at a John Deere dealership. It was awful. Got paid $9 an hour to...
But you say that you had more money then than you did when we started dating.
Yeah, I did. It was just me. It was during COVID, and all my school was online, so I was working 40 hours a week. So kind of got closer with people I worked with because I was spending more time with them. And this guy that I befriended at work and really liked was named Noah. So it was his birthday in April,
So, can I pick up?
Absolutely.
So, I got sent home towards the middle of March from Auburn because of COVID. And I only had a couple friends in Albany, so I was just living with my dad. Only had a couple friends, so I would hang out with the same girl basically every day. And her name is Liza, which I know you listen, so shout out Liza. So we would hang out all the time. So I became a little bit closer with Noah because they hung out like every day when they got off of work or whatever. And it was Noah's birthday towards the end of April. And so Liza was throwing Noah a surprise party. Noah and Liza are dating. Well, they're now married, but at the time they were dating. I don't know if we said that. So anyways, Liza was throwing her boyfriend Noah a surprise party. And me, being Liza's friend, hanging out with her every single day for the last month, like, I helped her do some stuff. I don't think I ever, like, actually helped her plan anything, but I was just over there that day and knew that it was happening that day and, like, was just over there. And Covey, getting closer with Noah at work, was one of the people that she invited.
Yeah.
So
it was a smaller thing.
Yeah.
Just because of COVID. So it was at her parents' house with her 3 siblings, and parents were there, and Noah.
Which we didn't have, like, at the time, like, they didn't have, we weren't, like, there wasn't a big group of friends anyways. Like, even when we started all hanging out, like, it was a small group of people anyway. So it wasn't, like, 30 people there. It was, like, 10.
Yeah.
We were exclusive on who we wanted to hang out with.
For sure. And I almost didn't go. But I'm glad I did.
So, anyways, Covey was like, you and Hudson were the last ones to get there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure Noah was already there and, like, got surprised before y'all even showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we already did the whole surprise thing before you even got there. And I, like, thought that I recognized you maybe, but I really had no idea who you were. I had no idea who any of y'all were. The only person I knew was Noah and Liza's family.
Yeah. You probably seen me around the block.
No.
Time or two.
Never. I'd heard of Hudson and Trevor from Liza, but I don't remember ever, like, hearing of you, I don't think. Because I think Hudson and Trevor, like, worked all the time.
Yeah.
Not just COVID, which was, like, recently for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, we met at Noah's birthday party, which was, like, April 23rd, April 25th. Sorry.
I think it's the 24th.
Okay, I believe you.
I don't know.
So,
sorry, Liza, if we got it wrong.
Yeah. So then we played Scattergories.
Which not a big fan of the game, by the way.
No, I love that game, but we played Scattergories, and there was like 10 or 12 of us, but there was only like 6 cards, so we were all sharing, and me and Covey got stuck sharing like cards, which I don't know if you're familiar with Scattergories, but you like have a card that has the categories that you're looking for anyways. We don't need to get into that, but we were sharing that card, and Covey, you can explain your impression of me during that game.
Demanding. I got that card snatched away from me so many times because she couldn't see it. So I guess she wanted to win real bad. Finally, I gave up and was like, you can have it. I'm done. I'm not playing anymore. And I thought it was funny. Definitely caught my eye.
And then he fell in love with me in that moment. Not true. I don't know, actually, but...
No. But you were appealing to the eye for sure.
Thanks. And so then the whole party was over, whatever, and then I think it was the next day I was like working out or something in the garage at my parents' house, and you just like came to my mind, so I looked you up on Instagram and I followed you, and I saw that it said follow back, and I was like, he knew who I was. And I felt bad because I was like, dang. And so I think I texted Liza and I like sent her a screenshot of it or something and was like, this is awkward. And then I like followed you. And then you were at work with Noah.
Yeah.
And what went through your head when I followed you back on Instagram?
I don't know. I was definitely excited. I was like, dang, she thought of me, when I wasn't around. So,
No, you said something to him.
I said, I don't remember what I said.
You said something, and I know this because I think you told Noah, and then Noah told Liza, and then Liza told me. So it might be like a little telephone, like, misconstrued, but it was something I think along the lines of, like, watch this, like, I'm gonna date her, or we're gonna start dating, or something like that.
I can't remember. I think it's something like I'm gonna take her out.
And Noah knew that. So a little bit of backstory. So during COVID, I had just gotten ghosted. Like when we got sent home for COVID, I was like kind of dating, kind of talking to some guy, and he just like straight up ghosted me, and
thank God.
and I was like, okay, this sucks, and because like I liked him. I mean, it was like a new thing, but I'd never been ghosted before, so I was like, didn't know what was going on, and like the whole world was shutting down, so it was just a weird thing. So at that point, Noah knew, because I was so close with Liza, and we did like, now that I think about it, we did like family walks. Like when Noah would get off of work, the three of us would like go on walks around Liza's neighborhood and like talk about life. And so Noah knew that I was like, my heart was really guarded. And then I was like super serious about the next time I was going to date somebody. And so when you said that, Noah was like, yeah, okay, like good luck. And I don't think that you flinched. Well, that's not true. You did. One thing that I really like admired about you from the start was that you asked for my phone number. And you didn't ask for like my Snapchat or like DM me on Instagram. You like asked Liza for my phone number because I don't think Noah had it. And so Liza texted me and was just like, are you okay with me giving him your phone number? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I knew you had my phone number.
I had it for like 2 or 3 days. I just didn't know what to say.
And so I'm sitting there like, I don't know. The party was on Saturday. I followed you on Sunday. You texted me on Tuesday or Wednesday.
I think it was a Wednesday.
Okay. Anyways, but I was so over it at that point because I was like, which that's just stupid, but I was like, he has my number. I know he has my number. He's not texting me. Like, I'm not going to sit here and wait like I'm done. I'm over it already.
I just didn't know what to say.
And that's why I had that energy the whole time that you would text me like that first week. Like, he would give me a compliment and I'd be like, you don't have to do that.
I didn't compliment you till a few days in, but it wasn't like...
But within that first week of you texting me, I was like, you don't have to compliment me. Like, I was playing so hard to get because I was like, you had my number for 2 days and didn't text me.
I don't know, you were doing like, you had like your online classes or whatever, and like you were like, I'm about to take a test, blah, blah, and you were like, I made a 90 something or whatever, and I was like, dang, tough life being pretty and smart.
And I remember being
so it really wasn't like, oh my God, you're so cute kind of comment. It was just like kind of just slid it in there, and she was like, don't take this the wrong way, but you don't have to compliment me. And I was like, taken aback. I was like, who wouldn't like a compliment every once in a while, you know?
We're still working on accepting compliments. But anyway, so fast forward, you text me for the first time on April 30th. That's a key detail. And then fast forward, we were texting or whatever, and again, I think you asked me to hang out within like the first like week and a half, and I was just like, I don't really know you that well. My heart was still super guarded. No, the first time that we hung out after that was when me and Liza brought lunch to Flint,
which was in like May.
Yeah, so like a few weeks later.
Yeah.
And then after that, we like started texting a little bit more, but we did not hang out by ourselves until I'm pretty sure we were like actually dating, because
I don't know. Well, just like hung out in general. We just kind of went through a period of like we were just talking as friends and stuff, and like I knew I liked her. And
did I meet you at Seth's before or after I brought you to that Chick-fil-A?
Before.
Okay, so we had been texting a little bit, and he was like asking to hang out, and I did not want to hang out with him by myself, and like I was just very much like guarded, and I don't know, it's hard to explain and think back on, but he went to a friend's house at the lake.
We're missing some details.
I don't know. Then you fill us in. I don't remember.
So she really just like wouldn't want to hang out with me, and like I was like trying to actively pursue her, and but I wasn't like being like a creepo or anything, and like being like, you have to hang out with me, whatever. Like I was just like, she was sharing with me, like she was slowly letting me in and just like sharing me with the struggles of like being home without her friends that she had been with at Auburn and stuff, and that it was just hard for her. So I was like more just like being a friend to her and just like getting to know her. And I really liked her, and it was just like getting
But
tough.
that's weird for you.
What?
Like,
To like?
yeah, cause
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that wasn't me at all. I really didn't.
not to like a girl, but like you just were so like independent and like just wanted to do your own thing, and you were just like one of the boys.
Yeah.
So the fact that you even like had a girl in your messages was like
Yeah, it was
crazy
super,
for
it
your
was
friends
super-
to like.
It was super weird. But like I knew I liked her, and it was just getting hard to be her friend and everything. And I found out she was like going to Auburn to.
This is where we disagree.
It was just like, I mean, it was just kind of construed the vibe and everything. So the way like it was.
So
shown to
I
me.
still had a lot of friends that were still in Auburn that didn't go home for COVID.
Because they weren't in like student housing and were forced to leave.
Well, that wasn't necessarily the case for me. I wasn't in student housing. I just didn't want to stay in Auburn if I didn't have to. If I had the choice of like going home and being with my dad and like going out to the farm and stuff. And I was at spring break, so it wasn't like I was at Auburn and then went home. It was like I was at the beach and then just went back to Auburn.
It was also like majority of people went home. Like you still had a few friends here, but
Yeah.
majority of everybody left.
Yeah, and even when I came back to Auburn during COVID, it was like a lot of the people that I would see came to Auburn that weekend too. They weren't still in Auburn.
Right.
We just met back up at Auburn. So I went one weekend and stayed with my friend Taylor, and Covey was told that I was going to go back to go on a date with somebody.
Basically, yeah.
But for me, it was I was going back to see Taylor, and we had friends that were on our intramural team that were also going to be back that we were going to go out with.
Yeah.
And it was just 2 girls and 2 guys.
Two
So,
girls, 2 guys.
yes, but for me,
Double date.
it wasn't, hey, I'm going to go back to Auburn, or like, hey, Taylor, let's meet up at Auburn and go on a double date. It was me and Taylor saying, let's hang out. Oh, so-and-so and so-and-so are also going to be in Auburn that weekend.
Right.
So anyways, that was a bump in the road, and Covey didn't communicate that with me, that's what he was told. So
No.
you just started like...
No, I did communicate with you, and you were on your way to Auburn. You were like, I would love to call you and like talk about this, but I've been burnt too many times in life, so I was like, nah, it's good. Don't worry about it.
So I was like, okay, like I was invested, but at the same time I was like, why am I this invested? Like I'm just going to go do my thing.
Yeah, and
And so we didn't talk for like...
It was like 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
I unadded her on Snapchat. I didn't block her.
Which I didn't know.
Yeah, I unadded her just because I didn't
I was still
want
looking for you to view my stories.
I didn't want to like see her stuff and just like be reminded. Like I don't know why it hurt so bad because it wasn't even that serious yet, but like I just knew that like I liked her a lot.
This was like June,
Yeah,
and we had only been texting for like a month
Yeah.
and a half.
yeah,
So anyways, fast forward, we don't talk for like 2 weeks, and then I remember where I was when I texted you, and I just was like, hey, how are you? And the craziest thing, I literally am like, what the heck? He goes, fine, my aunt just died, but everything's great. And I'm like, what the heck? And he was like, yep, well, it was nice talking to you. And I literally remember being like, no, like I want to talk to you.
yeah.
So we just kind of picked up from there, and I don't...
But it was like that. It was like that was it was a Thursday when you met Snapchat, texted me or whatever.
Yeah.
And
I remember being like, no, like, you're not going to just end this conversation on 3 responses. Like, I want to talk to you. I miss talking to you.
And so it was a Thursday, and I think it was Friday when one of my friends lived at the lake near our town, and his parents had a house there and everything. So I was like, hey, we're going over to Seth's house, and Seth happened to like go to school with Sophie when she was younger.
Yeah, so I knew Seth. So when I followed Covey on Instagram, there was he has this core group of friends that I knew of, but I didn't ever know you. So when he said he was going to Seth's house, I was like, oh, I know Seth, and like I trusted him, and like I knew like his mom pretty well. Like him and my mom worked together when we were little and all this stuff. So I was like, yeah, like I could do that for sure. So I went over there like literally the next day, and we hung out like almost every single day after that, I feel like, or at least, and like even that night, people were like, oh, y'all are so cute, and we're like, this is the first time we've
ever seen each other
hanging out. Yeah. But so that was basically that, and then
but
that was like July.
yeah,
No, that was still June because in July we went to the beach with your friends for July 4th, the week before. And that trip was, I remember driving home from that trip and being like, in my notes app, like, these are the reasons why I'm not ever going to date you. Which is so brutal.
Couldn't get home fast enough.
Yeah, which was so brutal to think about. But I was like, nope, we're just going to be friends. And these are the reasons why, and we're never gonna date, and these are the reasons why.
But for some reason, we like kept talking. Like I thought that was it. I was like, okay, this just isn't meant to be, whatever. But like we just like kept talking and like just like kept knowing each other on a deeper level, just slowly. And then finally, like I knew, like I was like I like couldn't take it anymore, just being her friend. And I was like,
well, one day I went and brought you Chick-fil-A at work.
It was that day, yeah.
Yeah. So I went and brought him Chick-fil-A at work because the town that he worked in had, like, the only Chick-fil-A was the one on campus in, like, the small little college that was there. So I brought him lunch, brought him Chick-fil-A, and we sat in my car and ate it. And then you're like, all right, well, I'm going to get back to work. And I'm like, well, what do you have? And you were like, I got to drive to Sylvester and, like, pick up a trailer, like, do some stuff. I don't even know. Riding around.
Yeah, I had to go, I was pretty much just getting some windshield time. And I was like, you're more than welcome to ride with me.
And I was like, okay. So then I got in his truck and we started riding. And then we, like, spent the whole afternoon. I spent the whole afternoon just sitting in his passenger seat while he was driving around running errands, like, town to town. And then I was like, we got back and he was like, all right, I got to unload this stuff. And I was like, okay, now you actually, like, have to, like, get out and, like, do work.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave. And then we were leaving and you texted me and you were like, the guys are making fun of me saying that, like, you're wrapped around my finger. Or I'm wrapped around your finger or whatever. And I was like...
Yeah. And they were
and
like... I told her, I was like, everybody's like, was just like poking at me. Saying I was like, wrapped around her finger and stuff.
And I said, do they know that we're just friends? I think you should tell them that. And you literally were just like, okay, yeah, I'm done. Like, in that moment, you were like, I'm not doing
like,
this.
For her, like, to say that was just... I was like, okay, I can't...
I was trying so hard to, like, just be friends with you. And so then, when he said, like, I just can't be friends with you, like, this has got to be over, I went directly to my dad's farm and bawled my eyes out because that's just where I felt, like, the safest. I say this all the time, like, that was the day I felt like you broke up with me, even though we weren't even dating. And then I called him bawling, and I was like, ignore the fact that I'm crying, just listen to what I'm saying. And I was like, I know that, like, the Lord wants us to be together, and, like, I feel that. But I just don't think that he wants us to be together right now.
Yeah. And there's definitely some improvements in my life that I needed to make for the better, for sure. And
I couldn't explain why. I just was like, I like you, and I want to be with you, and I know that the Lord's called us together, but I just can't do it right now, and I don't know why, and I just need you to be patient. And that was basically that conversation. And I remember calling Audrey, shout out Audrey, I don't know if you listen, and being like, I feel like he just broke up with me, and you were like, you need to call him and tell him how you feel, because she was friends with Seth, and so they all, like, knew. Everybody knew how we felt about each other except for each other.
Yeah.
It was one of those situations. So then we, like, finally got into the point where we were like, okay, we like each other, we just aren't going to be together right now, and we don't really know why, but we, like, trust that the Lord's, like, in this, and, like, the timing will unfold.
So, yeah, so pretty much, like, we just had, it was almost... Like, we knew we liked each other. It was almost just like a summer fling. And then it came back for the fall semester of school to start. And she was going back to Auburn, and I was going to be back in Albany.
Yeah, I was going to Auburn, and you were going to be staying home.
And so I was just, like, didn't know what to do.
I think we had decided that we were just going to see how it went.
Yeah, because
we still weren't dating.
Because I was like, she's just going to go back to Auburn and just, like, kind of, like, forget about me. Whatever. And she was like, then she told me, she was like, that's not going to happen. Like, I won't let that happen. Or whatever. So then it was just like, you went to school for 1 week, and then the next weekend I was there.
But you said you went, quote, to go see your friends who lived here. And you stayed with them all weekend. You just came to church at home that we hosted at my apartment that weekend.
No, I stayed at your apartment.
No.
Yes, I did.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you stayed there Saturday night, but you stayed with your friends Friday. I
didn't come on. I came on Saturday.
I didn't came last minute.
Yeah, I came last minute, but I came last minute.
I don't remember
Saturday.
things clearly.
And you're like, I want you to come to church at home.
This was when our church in Auburn was still doing things virtually.
Yeah, she was like, I think you would really enjoy it. And so we did that.
So that was the second to last weekend of August, and you came Saturday night, did church at home on Sunday, and then left.
Yes, and then I was free the next weekend, and
and we actually planned for you to come that weekend.
Yeah.
And we were back in person at church that weekend too, and I think that was one of the reasons that we were like, you should come back and actually go in person next weekend.
Yeah, so I was able to come on Friday at a decent time. So I had Friday afternoon and night, and then all day Saturday and everything, and got to meet her roommate at the time.
When did we go to Columbus and go on that date?
The Saturday that I came for the first time, it was that Thursday.
Right. So that Thursday, and then you came that Saturday last minute.
Yes.
So we
had seen each other 3 times within the first 2 weeks that you had
I had moved back.
And so we came that weekend, and so we were just hanging out. She was showing me around and everything.
You met my family that lived here. We went to a soccer game. It was a full on hometown date kind of thing.
Yeah. And so I was all this time we spent all these sweet feel together, we might as well just be together.
Yes, but backtrack. We used to always ask each other when things were quiet, and we still do this. Things will just be quiet, and we'll be like, "What are you thinking about?"
Yeah.
And so that happened. We were sitting there, and I was like, "What are you thinking about?" And you were like, "I just don't understand why we're not dating." And I was like, "Well, you can change that." And you were like, "Okay, will you be my girlfriend or something?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And that was literally it.
Yeah.
And then the next day, was it the next day that we got back from church and you were like, "I feel like the Lord's calling me here"? No.
I don't remember.
So anyways, fast forward, we're dating, and he's coming every so often. I'm going home every so often, I think. I don't feel like I went home as much as you came here.
Yeah, for sure.
So fast forward. Now, I will say, we knew that we were going to get married before we started dating because I had told you part of the reason, over the summer, that part of the reason why I wasn't ready to date you was because I knew that the next person I date, I'm going to marry, and that wasn't you yet. I hadn't had peace from the Lord that was you, so I wasn't going to date you because I knew the next person I was going to date, I was going to marry.
And when she told me that, it was dang, it's time to run. But there's just something telling me just to be okay with that. So we started dating, and
the next weekend was my birthday, and you were on a bachelor trip, and I remember calling you being like, "You're the worst boyfriend ever. You haven't even texted me good morning." And you're like, "I haven't even woken up yet."
Yeah, I was just 7 in the morning with the boys, and I
had trauma.
I was so tired.
Past relationships.
I was so tired, and I woke up at 6 and just text her happy birthday, and I was gonna call her when I got up. And it's she called me and was like, "You can't just text me happy birthday." I was like, "I'll plan on calling you, but it's 7 in the morning."
Anyways, so we were dating, and then I don't know, things got really serious really fast because we knew that we were gonna end up getting married at some point. And I remember, I'm pretty sure I looked back at our messages one time, and I had sent you, the rings that, I liked in, October. And we started dating August 18th.
August 28th.
Yeah, August 28th. I don't know what is going on in my brain.
We did long-distance dating, which sucked for...
Our whole dating relationship.
Yeah, and I just felt like the Lord was, calling me here. Every time I came here... We got
back from church one time, and you were about to leave. You had packed up your truck before...
Yeah.
We left for church, and you sat there, and I was like, "What are you thinking?" I could tell that, the Lord was stirring something up in you, and you just, looked at me, and I could tell that you were, emotional about it, and you were like, "I just feel like the Lord's calling me here." I vividly remember you saying, the Lord is calling me to, we're supposed to have our kids in Auburn, and I was like, you told me that, and I was like, okay. And I talked about this in the episode about grad school, about how you said that and your calling then became my calling of okay, well then I can't go to St. Augustine. And so
it was definitely a lot to figure out after that.
That had to have been January-ish.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Because it was soon after that I switched to Flex. It was soon after that we started figuring out how we could make that work.
Yeah, and so, I was going to grad school, and Auburn has a great Masters of Accountancy program, and it's the only place I applied. I was just so sure.
We went to Auburn to meet with one of the admissions people, right? And is that what she is?
kind of like the director of the program.
Yeah, and we went and met with her, and I remember her getting back in the car after that and being like, this is such a God thing. Like, everything about the program was like everything that we needed and everything that we wanted, and like was just so great for like your career and your education.
Yeah.
So we were like, this is it. And so that's what we did. And I don't remember when that was.
It was in May, the first, like, May of 21.
Okay. So it was in May, and so you applied
I don't remember.
June or July.
No, it was more.
Maybe you had already applied?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
I don't remember when I applied.
Yeah. But
I
at this point,
I think it was like September, August when like I had to apply by.
But I was already in the Flex program. I was starting in September. And so also backtrack, because at this point I was expecting a ring.
Yeah.
Like, I was expecting to get engaged like that summer, because we had already decided on our wedding date based on
It was you.
based on my lab schedule. So like I was like, we're getting married April 30th and it's July, like we got to get on it. And it didn't happen until November. So we're like going through this whole process of like figuring out what school you're going to apply to, which it ended up just being Auburn. Like, we trusted the Lord. Like, we were like, this is where he's calling us, and we're going to put our faith in that and like not call his bluff and apply to other places just to lean back on. Like, we're going to trust that this is the door that he's going to open for you.
Yeah.
And so like I'm like, we're doing all these things, and like we're planning on you moving here, we're planning on you doing all these things, and like we're not even engaged yet. So we put it
was definitely like an emotional roller coaster, just because like she was putting so much pressure on me, and like it was just a lot, like hearing from like family members and like that it was not smart, everything.
Which we were both hearing that.
Yes, but if I would have like been in the place I'm at now
with your relationship with the Lord,
I would have been more okay with it, but finally made it happen.
Which we'll talk about that in another episode. Yeah. Like, Kobe will come on here and share his testimony. But
so we got engaged.
Wait, no. We're skipping so much.
We have 6% battery on your computer.
Okay, well then let me sum it up. So you apply to Auburn, and then I'm like, engagement before I start grad school, because I'm like, I'm switching my whole plans around to marry you in April, like going to be online. Like, y'all heard about this in the other episodes of like being financially independent and like all of these things, so that we can get married, and like we're not even engaged by the time I start school. So I was like, if we're not engaged by the time I start school, like I'm gonna be hurt. And then it was my birthday, which was like a week apart. I started, and then my birthday was like the next week.
And then it was like Thanksgiving, and then she was like,
I told him,
if it's not by Christmas, I'm gone.
Yeah, straight up. I was like, I know where the Lord's calling us, and it was to the point where it was like, if you're not going to be obedient to the Lord's calling in our lives to be engaged and be married by this day, then like I don't want to be with someone who's not like on board with that and like isn't gonna.
Which I had the ring since like I think August or September.
Yeah. Which Morgan, she's the one that got.
When I got into town, Morgan lived in the same apartment complex, so I told Morgan to meet me outside, and I had the money in a, little bank, envelope, whatever thing. And I was like, here's the money, whatever. And got to Sophie's apartment, and she was tracking me to like be outside when.
Yeah, we would always track each other when we were driving.
Yeah, and so she was like, "Why aren't you here? Like, your location says you're here." In the apartment complex. But, like, I just
pulled into Morgan's building. So, I don't know when that was, but I found out later that that's how that happened. So, you had the ring, but we hadn't gotten engaged. And I was getting very frustrated and very much like, I'm not going to marry somebody who's not going to, like, who's going to hesitate a calling and not be obedient. Little did I know, like, you were just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And we get engaged November 4th. So, I'll tell my side of the story on how we got engaged.
Because you were coming to my place.
Yes. On lab weekends, I would leave on Thursday after I got off work and drive to Covey's parents' house and then see them. And then Friday morning, I would drive to St. Augustine. Well, Bailey, shout out Bailey, who ended up being my maid of honor, was planning my engagement with you for a Thursday night and told me that it was a surprise party.
We planned it on Wednesday.
Yeah. Anyways.
One day plan. It went well.
I was told that there was a doctor that worked at our office, and it was his birthday that week or the week before or something, and so we were going to do a surprise party for him Thursday night. Asked if I could go. I texted you, and you were like, yeah, that's fine. Like, I'll wait up. It was crazy because I picked out 2 outfits to wear, and I didn't know which one to wear, and Bailey asked you if you could pick out an outfit for her to wear, what would it be, and it happened to be one of the outfits that I brought. So when I was like, Bailey, which one should I wear? She was like, this black dress. So I wore my black jean dress. Anyways, got ready at the office. They said we were going to this restaurant that I had never been to, so it kind of worked out because I didn't know where it was.
Yeah.
And then Bailey was jogging around like a crazy person. Like, I was like, there's no way that we're passing this building twice or whatever. Like, we were just not going, but I just wasn't paying attention. And so we pulled up to the Googe, which is like this new, it was like at the time super new, super cool, like looked like an airport runway.
It's the Performance Arts Center, and it's got a really big sidewalk that has all these lights in it. So it was like perfect just to like make it easy, and like we did like
flowers and a chalkboard, and yeah, it was great. I can put pictures or something. So anyways, got engaged, and then we went to dinner at the restaurant that we were, like, I was originally under the impression we were going to, and like all of our friends and family were there, which was really sweet. And then drove back, and I texted my dad, told him we got engaged, all these things.
We'll save that for another episode, that whole process.
Yeah. Sandy, I'm trying to convince Sandy to come on the podcast. Sandy is my future stepmother, and I really want to like have that conversation with her.
Sandy and your dad were very intimidating in that moment.
Yeah, so Covey had talked to my dad and had like conversations with my dad and Sandy and stuff, but that it was hard. But I'm trying to convince Sandy to come onto the podcast so we can get her side of the story and ask her some questions on her experience and all of that. But
I've kind of blocked that out of my mind, but
yeah. So anyways, got engaged. I went to lab that weekend. Did you come with me?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we went to lab anyways, and then that was November 4th. By November 22nd or something, whatever Thanksgiving was, the day before Thanksgiving, we went to our wedding venue and like solidified it.
Yeah.
Which ended up, like, our wedding, like, all of it was just like an answered prayer after an answered prayer. Like, we got our venue for free. It was so
nice, but it was like a fairly cheap wedding, but like you would have thought that we spent so much money. It was just like
the wedding venue was like a plantation that I had like grown up on, that like my dad's best friend, who's like a second dad to me, like allowed us to get married there for free. And it was just like a super big answered prayer. Okay, computer's on 2%, so we're gonna speed this up. Yeah, so the whole wedding was basically planned by like February.
In December though, the Lord answered our prayers, and
in October when Covey got waitlisted to Auburn.
Yes.
And we were both like very upset about it, but it was like one of those things where it was like, but we trusted the Lord. And I think he was just like, honestly, I feel like it was the Lord being like, y'all are supposed to be married when you go to Auburn. And I think you got into Auburn like so soon after we got engaged, which to me was like the Lord being like, you have to be obedient to me first, which was getting engaged, and then I'll like come tenfold on this promise. So he got waitlisted, we got engaged, then he got in, and before like the end of the year.
And then also got a graduate assistantship, which paid for all my tuition,
which was a huge answered prayer.
Yes, because like finances was a worry, going into this.
We basically planned everything in like 3 months. The wedding to like moving in. I moved in with my mom in February. So I was with my mom from like the middle of February to the middle of March because my lease was up. And then moved into the trailer before he did. And then we got married, which we'll save the rest of that for a different episode. But I feel like the Lord was just in that from the beginning. Okay, we're going to wrap this up really quick. That's basically it. We pretty much summed everything up as quick as we could. Everything's about to die, so we're gonna finish this up real quick. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you. I love you a lot.
Love you too. To the listeners, if you want me back on this podcast, please let me know. I'm really having fun.
Really? That's so exciting. Okay, thank you everybody for listening. Comment on the Instagram. It's Let's Talk About That podcast if you enjoyed having Covey on, and any questions that you want to ask us about our first year of marriage when he comes on again in a few months. Okay, everything died, but it's saved. Praise God.
Sophie didn't have very good...
We were not prepared.
Yeah, this was spur of the moment, but Sophie's computer, like everything else, is like almost always dead. So yeah,
We'll do better next time being prepared, but I hope you still enjoyed it, and we'll talk. Kobe will talk to you guys later. I'll talk to you guys next week. Hope you enjoyed. Bye. Say bye.
bye.